All right, well, I know it's hard to follow anything involving Cindy as well as right after lunch, but I'm going to try to make this as interesting as possible. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about event marketing, and I'm also going to talk about one successful event that the Purdue Club of Washington, D.C. did recently this past June. Before I get started, though, I'm Christopher Rost, and I'm a 2005 graduate from the School of Hospitality and Tourism Management. And I am currently the treasurer of the Purdue Club of Chicago. I moved to Chicago earlier this spring. Before that, I lived in DC, and I was the co-president of the Club of DC for the previous 2 years. So with that being said, actually, bear with me. I'm going to pull up a different presentation. I'm sorry about that, Brandy.
Blame it on me.
Nope, it's my fault. Let's go with this one. So different, so different. All right, so the one thing that I want everybody to walk away with from today's presentation is that events are important. And if you don't believe me, believe a chief marketing officer from a Fortune 500 corporation. This chief marketing officer says, events are the most important thing that they do. This is a Fortune 500 company. Why are they so important? Well, as a marketer, one of the main jobs is to drive leads for that organization, hopefully to close new business, bring on new customers. So events are so important just because there are a lot of different channels that marketers can use out there to reach new customers, current customers, and whatnot. That could be a company website, that could be social media, that could be printed publications. Why are events so important to Fortune 500 companies? And that's because they are the second most influential marketing channel. Again, the second most influential marketing channel. That's ahead of social media. That's ahead of email marketing. That's ahead of any type of blogs or webinars that companies might do. They're so important that the average company spends 30 to 39% of their marketing budget on in-person events. Now, I know you may be thinking, Chris, okay, this is pretty corporate driven right now. You know, how do I apply this to my local alumni club? And what I want everybody to think about, and what I really want everybody to leave today feeling encouraged, is to think about the ROE. We hear about ROI constantly, return on your investment, but a lot of times we don't think about the ROE when we are putting together an event. When you are, and I guess I bring this up today in the presentation because I've planned a lot of events for the Club of DC and now getting my feet wet with the Club of Chicago. You put a lot of time, you put a lot of heart and soul into these events. The event happens, it goes off as a success, and then it just kind of ends. I would encourage everybody to consider when you're organizing your next event, how do we use this event as a starting point to continue to build on the goals, on the initiatives of our particular club. Last weekend in San Francisco, there was a company many of you might be familiar with, Salesforce. They had a week-long user conference. Over 170,000 people were in the city of San Francisco last week, all week for Salesforce. They even had to bring in a ship because San Francisco ran out of hotel rooms. People were literally staying on a cruise ship. Now, from this company's perspective, they're bringing all these people together not to have a good time, not necessarily to just mingle. The point is to actually drive sales after the event. So just keep that in mind. Next time you are planning your events, the event is actually the starting point. If you want to drive donations to your scholarships, if you want to achieve some of the other goals of your particular club, use that event as kind of that launching pad. Now, with that being said, a great event starts with a good concept. In Washington, D.C., we came up with the idea that we should have Ryan Kerrigan come to one of our events, right? He lives in our backyard. He's probably the best thing to happen to Purdue football in quite a long time. It really just made sense that we would invite Ryan Kerrigan. Not only is he a Purdue Boilermaker, but he's a Washington Redskin. And that would kind of be a double hit in terms of getting people interested to come to this particular event. With that being said, it was not easy to land Ryan Kerrigan. I spent over a year and a half stalking him. I was tweeting him. I was going through the Washington Redskins. They finally told me to stop, that they don't put outsiders in touch with their athletes. I finally found an in with his foundation. Ryan Kerrigan has a foundation that's called Blitz for the Better, and his leader finally started emailing me back. And my in was, hey, I'm the co-president of the Purdue Club of DC. We want to work with you to do some volunteer opportunities. I want to see how I can mobilize my alumni, my members, to get involved with this great foundation in the DC area. That actually led to being invited to the foundation's flagship event, which is the Celebrity Waiter Night. This is the picture that you can see on the PowerPoint right now. Myself and another member of the club, Emily Smith, we got to go. And immediately following this event, literally 2 days later, we set up a call with the foundation, and we were just hammering out details how the club could get involved. I was mingling in, we really want to do just a private event with Ryan, and finally we got him on our docket. And June 6th, we were able to bring Ryan to a Purdue Club of DC event. We were very excited. We flew out Purdue Pete. We had a great time with Purdue Pete. A couple other value adds that we did were we invited our scholarship winners. And I also worked with the Office of Admissions. This is like an untapped resource that I think more alumni clubs around the country should work with. There is a director of admissions in the DC region. And we said, hey, you are constantly working to promote Purdue. There is nothing that alumni like better than talking to prospective students, especially if you're out of the Midwest and you're not here and necessarily the state of Indiana, just because not as many kids are considering Purdue. So the Office of Admissions helped us get over 75 people, prospective students. It was really just a lovely event seeing alumni interact with prospective students. We had Purdue Pete there. I think one thing that we did at this event, which we don't always do, is we kind of bragged on ourselves. Our leadership team was really promoting everything that we do throughout the year. And then having the scholarship winners there, they're flesh and blood. Talk to them, understand how amazing these particular scholarship winners are. So that was just some of the things that we did with that particular event. We also gave Ryan a Outstanding Alumni Award. That was actually a makeshift award. We've never done that before, but we came up with the idea because we thought if there was that kind of tag in that he wouldn't cancel on us at the last minute or something like that. He is kind of the it guy when it comes to Washington Redskins attending different galas and whatnot in the DC area. So I know I was talking about that ROE. What was the ROE of this particular event? Well, I'll tell you, one thing that happened is we had over 50 alumni. We had about 200 total guests that came to this event. We had 50 alumni that had never been to any one of our events. It took having Ryan Kerrigan come to the event to get interaction with these folks, but it was just great to see some new faces. I think we also worked and collaborated with the Office of Admissions really well. Like I said earlier, there's nothing more that alumni like doing than talking to prospective students. I really encourage you to reach out to representatives for the Office of Admissions in your particular areas. They actually have money and they're willing to spend it on these events, which is really impressive. Now, if there was one thing that we didn't do, and I look back on this particular event, it's all about the follow-up. I had 50 new members that I had, or 50 new alumni that I had never met and touched base with. And I haven't followed up with them since. I haven't sent them an email saying, would you like to donate to our scholarship fund? You met our scholarship winners and you understand why they won that particular award. Would you like to donate? Would you like to be a part of this scholarship next year, this particular process. So there were definitely some things, that we learned, but, hindsight is always 20/20, right? So that's just something to kind of keep in mind when you are doing these events for the future. Just try to extend the outreach of them. These events, you're getting in front of your alumni, you're getting the opportunity to present your mission, your goal, your initiative, and that's really a stepping stone for the future. My last slide, at the end of the day, when you are planning events, studies show that event planning is the 5th most stressful job behind military personnel, firefighters, airline pilots, and police officers. So if you go home, just know that you're in good company with event planners around the world. Thank you. All right, so the question was, who am I going to bring for Chicago? I don't know. You have any suggestions?
Isn't there a basketball player up? Moore?
Etuan Moore, he actually is with New Orleans now, the Pelicans. He just moved. We did get an autographed jersey from him, though. And some.
A group we got together to go to a game at the United Center where we got to do a meet and greet afterwards with Etuan. And we're already talking about trying to see if we can get the quantity for the Dallas game when AJ comes to town.
Yeah, Indianapolis Club just did that.
Yeah.
Dallas is going to Timberwolves because we get Robbie and Maps, so we're
Robbie's not with the Timberwolves
January.
So, and a lot of you, if you are going to try to plan events around these folks, Purdue celebrities, again, it's not easy to get them. It's not easy to get their time and to put together an event. Just make sure you capitalize on that opportunity. What are some of the goals? What are the initiatives of your club? Use that event as a place to start, and then use it to follow up appropriately. John?
What channel of communication did you find the best to use?
Well, it helped with the Office of Admissions because they gave us a list of all of the prospective students. So email marketing for this particular event was probably our most effective. We have a newsletter where we have a base of a couple thousand people that have signed up for the newsletter. We also used email marketing through Purdue Alumni and Facebook, social media, and whatnot. So I'd say email marketing was probably the most effective for that particular event. Yes, sir?
What was the actual event? Did he speak, or was there a program, or what?
Yeah, so we more or less were spreading the mission of our club. It was an opportunity. We knew that we had a lot of prospective students and their parents are interested, like what's Purdue doing in our community? So we opened up with just kind of an explanation of our mission, what we've accomplished over the past year. And then we gave a nice introduction to Ryan Kerrigan, went over some of his accolades at Purdue, also with the Redskins, and then generally just what he's done in the community. The guy has done a lot of community service in the Washington, D.C. area. So we try to highlight that more so than the athletic side of things. Then he came up and he gave a quick speech about what Purdue meant to him. And I think he really enjoyed it because now we have a solid relationship with this foundation, and we got invited back to the celebrity waiter night. We're really trying to collaborate and find opportunities where alumni can get involved with this particular foundation. So, and then we had a kind of an autograph session where everyone could get a picture with him and Purdue Pete and get autographs or whatnot if they wanted to do that.
Feel for why it is so hard to get a hold of these people and get them involved? Are they just so busy, or?
I think for Ryan Kerrigan, the Washington Redskins have over the last decade or so been like the Purdue Boilermakers. They haven't been that good, and Ryan Kerrigan is one of the the shining stars on the team. DC specifically is a town where there are a lot of fundraisers, a lot of campaigns, a lot of galas. He's invited to every single one of them. I'll tell you a funny story at the celebrity waiter night. Emily, the member, and I, we had to wait in line to actually talk to Ryan, and people were just coming up throwing themselves at Ryan. Will you come to this? Will you help me out with this? And there were really good-looking younger women that I was just like, why do you want to talk to this short, bald guy? But it's like, hey, we're with the Purdue Club. I mean, it was amazing that he even took that picture with us, quite frankly. But I think he's just busy. He has so many invitations. Just the lockdown on a Sunday afternoon that he could give us a couple hours was difficult. Took a while, but.
What do you mean by celebrity waiter night?
So yeah, I'm sorry.
And that'll be the last question.
Okay, I'll make this really quick. So one of the fundraisers is a big kind of gala dinner where all of the Washington Redskins, a lot of his teammates, are the waiters. So you buy a table, and then your servers and whatnot that night are all Washington Redskins. And then there's a silent auction, so people are bidding on the side for, gifts and trips and whatnot.
Purdue event, it was a Washington Redskins.
That was an event for his foundation. So.
Kelly wanted to do a follow-up.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out another partnership that I think, is particularly right now, if you have a true campaign going on, is something to keep in mind as you are looking at, Purdue celebrity at your events. They definitely do draw a crowd, but something just to keep in mind is that it's always a good partnership effort is if we loop in university development, and sometimes they can actually serve as a great contact for a Purdue celebrity, because if that particular person is assigned a development director or a process manager, so we know them internally, a lot of times they do have an established relationship, and they may be interested in doing a VIP reception prior to your event, inviting some donors in and building on top of it as well. So I think particularly when we're dealing with Purdue celebrities, from a partnership standpoint, it's always really important not only to loop in